Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I trust you can hear me on this recording. Okay, great, you guys are hearing. So, as the name tag says, I am Ajani Crossman. I am the outgoing president for this academic year, and I am so excited to be moderating the candidate speeches debates for the incoming executive. These nominees would have been very active in club this year and contributed to keeping the UAS spirit alive and well and thriving throughout the year. And I'm so excited to hear what each and every person has. However, before we get into the debate, I'll just ask our outgoing assistant treasurer, Kadisha Angling, to just start us in prayer.
So good night, everybody. Let's just bow our heads as reverence. Most righteous and eternal Father, Lord, as we come before you tonight, mighty God, we tell you thanks. Thank you, mighty God, for your mercy. Thank you for your grace, Lord. Thank you for this opportunity, mighty God, to meet here, mighty God, and able, mighty God, to do this debate, Christ Jesus. Lord, I pray, mighty God, that you touch each and every candidate, mighty God, and give them the strength to just deliver their message confidently and clearly, Christ Jesus. Lord, I pray that you will take full control of this meeting. Lord, cover each and every one of us under your blood. Lead us, Jesus. Direct us. And I say no other name, but in your holy and righteous name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for that prayer, Kadisha Angling. So today on the agenda, we have speeches for every single position that is available. We have four uncontested positions, which are our publications committee chairperson or public relations officer, as well as our vice president and our president. Our most hotly contested seat would be that of treasurer, where we have three nominees, and we also have two nominees for general secretary and for external affairs chairperson. Just so that you guys know the agenda, so you know when to tune in. Although you should be tuned in for all of it, but when to expect your friend or your loved one who you may be supporting to speak. We will start with the speech from the publication, the nominee for publications chairperson. Then we'll have a speech from our nominee in the role of public relations officer. Then we'll move on to the speeches from the nominees for external affairs chairperson, which will be followed by the nominees for treasurer, then the general secretary nominees. Then we'll get to hear from our vice president elect and our president elect. And then we'll close the show. Just give me a second so I can load the YouTube link so I can see if any questions are being asked in the live chat. Okay, great. So at this time, I'm going to add Jerry Smith to the stage, who is our publications committee chairperson nominee.
Hi, thank you, Ajani. Good evening, everyone. So, as you guys may know, my name is Jerry Smith, and I'm currently your publication committee chairperson, and I'm your sole nominee for this year's publication committee chairperson once more. When I got the nomination, it was like 2 weeks ago, and I was a bit surprised because I was saying that I'm not sure if anybody wanted me to represent the UAA school again. So when I first saw it, I was like, interesting. Is this a prank? But then I realized it's actually real because that email came from the club. And I said, all right, let's try again. Let's see what can happen. It's an interesting year ahead, both for UA on a whole and UAS and my plans for it. So oftentimes persons confuse publications with just making just a regular poster. However, publications is more than making posters because oftentimes you may find yourself working with other personals, but it's closely related to publication things, but it's not directly publications. And even video editing also you may even do. And like an interesting thing that many persons need to know about publication is that it's beyond editing posters. It's a matter of how information is being carefully and interestingly conveyed through images and even videos, because you can do publications in video formats. So, having served on the committee throughout this academic year, it was a surreal experience because it was sort of one of my very first opportunities here at UWI, being a part of an executive body for a club per se. And I really learned a lot about the executive, learned a lot of things that I can work on to improve. And I really improved my skills as it relates to publications and even video editing, which are vital tools, especially in today's world. You want to really set yourself apart from others. And being a part of UAS publication committee this year really put myself out there in terms of like skillship and person getting to know me more as an individual. And initially, when I got into the whole aspect of publication, I was a bit skeptic. This was before UWI, as many persons who do these roles are typically students who are interested in terms of like media and communication. And you know us Axi majors, we're typically just the numbers. We're focusing on the numbers. And it was someone who said to me in high school that you can do other things outside of numbers. And I took that chance ever since sixth form and I continued that throughout to UWI. And I'm doing well so far. And I really believe that I want to set a standard in terms of like publications and even media on a whole within the club and even the wider UWI society as it relates to media, so that when I leave, my legacy will be remembered as Jerry, the one who did this, the one who did that, the one who transformed this from that. I really want to have that resonate within the members and even incoming students when I leave UWI to say, oh, I don't know who Jerry is, but I know he did this. So that's what I want to be remembered for. So I truly believe that if you want this to be the case, you should vote for me tomorrow before the day ends if you want to continue raising the standard with me. So if you have any questions, you're free to ask them.
Okay, thank you, Jerry, so much for that speech.
Yeah,
Let me take this time now to congratulate you and thank you for your tenure served. As you said, you are the returning publications committee chairperson, so I'd like to thank you for your service.
thank you very much.
While we wait on the live chat, if they have any questions, I have a question,
All
Mr.
right.
Smith. Yes. Um, as was stated before, you are the returning publications committee chairperson. What
Yeah.
is one aspect that you think you can and you will improve on this academic year to improve how you operate within that role?
Okay, what's one aspect I can improve in or will improve in? Most definitely, I think the timeliness of the graphics could definitely be improved, as because I was sort of like unfamiliarized with a lot of events that were being held. So things were being done at last minute, and the way I want to standardize things, I want to have things done within a timely manner. So say we have for even Black History Month, we could do like these posters like even 2 weeks before. So at the very first day of February, these things can be posted on the internet.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm looking to the live chat to see if there are any questions.
Questions. Okay.
Give them some time in case anybody has any questions.
All right.
Okay, I don't see any questions coming in. So, as from now on, Mr. Jerry Smith, you are the publications committee chairperson for the academic year 2026 2027.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
All right. Thank you. This.
Okay, and that was the first of many speeches for the night chat. We'll be moving things right along as we will hear from the sole nominee for our publications public relations officer role, who is yet again another returning member of the exec. Guys, please welcome Kaylee Jade Campbell. Hello,
Hello, good
Kaylee.
night.
Good night, Kaylee.
Hi.
Yeah.
So, good evening, UWIAS fam. My name is Katie J. Campbell, and I am honored to stand before you once again as a candidate for Public Relations Officer. Woo! So, over this past year, serving as your PRO has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my time at UWI, and I took on the responsibility, of representing our society's voice online, and I'm proud of the work we have done. This year has shown me just how much I love this role, and I don't think my time here is done just as yet. So when re-elected, I aim to bring clarity, creativity, consistency to how we communicate. But beyond that, I'm excited to introduce two initiatives that I'm fully committed to bringing to life. So, first, to celebrate our members, I would like to start Faces of UEAS. This would be a spotlight series dedicated to showcasing the amazing people within our society through short features shared across our platforms. Members would gain recognition, putting them in front of peers, professionals, and alumni who could open doors for them. It's a way to remind every member that within UEAS they're seen, valued, and appreciated. Second, for branding and community engagement, I propose UEAS Linked. Once or twice a semester, I would like to reach out to professionals or organizations in the actuarial and broader financial field to collaborate on content for our platforms. It's a small but meaningful way to start building a real bridge between our society and the industry we're all working towards entering. I believe I have shown up for this society this year, and I'm ready to keep showing up with more intention, more impact, and more creative energy I know I have to give. So why fix what isn't broken, guys? You should all vote for me tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that speech, Miss Campbell. Please stay put as I'll invite our outgoing Vice President Tanoya Saman to the stage to ask you a question or two. Hello, Miss Saman.
Hiya, Johnny. Good night, viewers. So, Kaylee, my question to you is heading into your final year, how do you plan to manage your academics as well as the role of PRO?
Okay, so I plan to manage my academics as well as the role by using more of the resources, such as like the content calendar. I plan to be more organized and dedicate time for UEAS content and my schoolwork. It's just a matter of being able to balance everything. And I believe this year has taught me a lot in that regard. So I will just basically work on that, like what I have learned this year. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Kaylee, and congratulations on your role as PRO.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kaylee and Tanoya Saman, for your input. Well, Kaylee for your speech and Tanoya Saman for asking a question. Very politely, I'm going to remove you guys from the stage though so that we can continue with tonight's affairs. And just like that, two speeches are down, but so much more is yet to come. Now I'll invite the nominees for the position of External Affairs Chairperson to the stage to share their speeches, which will entail their plans for the academic year. Our nominees this year are Robina Shettlwood and Michaela Walters. Good evening, guys.
Good evening.
Okay. I hope all is well.
Sure.
Okay. Rubino, can you hear me as well? Okay. Okay. I haven't heard back from Robino, but I hope that he'll enter soon. As such, we'll start with the ladies.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon again. Okay, we'll start with ladies first. So, Miss Walters, you will give your speech first. Then, Robino, you'll be able to give your speech. Please keep in mind the 3 minute timer.
Okay. All protocols observed. My name is Michaela Walters, and today I stand before you, well, I sit before you, not as a mere member of the UWIAS, but as your choice candidate for External Affairs Chairperson for the upcoming academic year. Why am I vying for this position? It's simple. I love giving back and being an active agent of change and impact. Ever since I've known myself, helping others has been a part of my mandate. In high school, I played an integral role in the Interact Club and Girls Code, a club dedicated to empowering young girls and raising awareness to issues we face. These roles would have seen me spearheading various initiatives, such as bake sales, from which the proceeds went to the Jamaica Cancer Society, and several endometriosis awareness talks. This inspired my first initiative when I took on the role of Deputy EAC for the club and hosted a club meeting inviting the CEO of Base JA to speak about her experience with endometriosis. It is along this trajectory that I would like to continue as your next EAC, with new initiatives such as the High School Mentorship Program and the Better Awareness Campaign. The mentorship program will see us collaborating with high schools close by, such as Mona High or Papine High, to tutor students in math and related subjects. This will not only benefit the wider society, but will also develop our club members as they hone their interpersonal skills, which will be invaluable to them as they step further into their future careers. The Better Awareness Campaign collaborates with our PR committee to not only acknowledge the various awareness months, but also share fun facts to broaden people's knowledge of the issues for which we are raising awareness. Why should you trust me? EAC is more than a position to me. It defines me. E for experienced. As previously stated, I'm not new to this, I'm true to this. Any leadership role at this stage requires time management at the highest level, and I have proven that I have what it takes, having been on the Elsa Lerania Halls committee while actively participating in sports and other extracurricular activities, without seeing a decline in my academic performance for what may have been one of the most difficult years in our degree program. A for ardent. Throughout my life, I've seen the impact of giving back and raising awareness, and thus, I have personally developed a drive for being at the forefront of such efforts. Being a part of the street feeding initiative in my first year really inspired me to do more if given the chance. That's why I intend to seek partnerships as early as possible to secure not only food for our friends, but other small essentials that will make their lives a little less difficult. C for committed. I promise to see all projects and initiatives through to the end and build on the legacy set before me with timely notice to ensure maximum reach and participation. Come tomorrow, I hope I can count on you to make the right choice. Choose impact, choose Michaela.
Okay, well done, Michaela. Thank you so much for that speech. At this time, I'll turn the figurative mic over to Mr. Shetwood, who will be giving his speech as to why he should be voted for the position of External Affairs Chairperson. Ready whenever you are.
Greetings once again, ladies and gentlemen. I am Robino Shetwood, one of your candidates vying for the position of External Affairs Chairperson. Just to give you a small summary of who I am. Once again, I'm Robino Shetwood, a first-year actuarial science student. I joined the club because I am studying actuarial science and I'd like to be in an environment with like-minded persons so that I can share ideas and innovative. Oh my God, what's up? Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, we can.
Or should I start over or continue?
You can start over.
Okay. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I am Robina Shetwood, one of your candidates vying for the position of External Affairs Chairperson. I am a first year actuarial science student and I joined the club to be around like minded persons. I'm running for the position of external affairs chairperson because I believe that the role of the external affairs chairperson is to bridge the gap between the club and the outside society. And I believe that I am the perfect fit for that role. One, because I was once the Mr. Jamaica High School King. I served as the reigning king and I would have implemented a lot of meaningful initiatives, advocated for male high schoolers right throughout Jamaica, and I've also served as head boy of St. Catherine High. I was once an executive member of the Jamaica Prefect Association, where I would have championed a lot of events and planned and served, which I would have represented a lot of high schoolers. Therefore, I believe that I am the right person to plan and
Okay, I'm not exactly sure what is occurring for Mr. Shetterwood. It seems like he's having some technological problems. I'll just give him 1 minute to either reach out to me or to get back on the stream. I'll try to figure out what is going on. Please bear with us, guys. Just give us a second. We're still trying to get in contact with him. Oh, it looks like he just entered the studio. So I'm going to promote him to stage again, which is great because I was considering having to sing to entertain you guys in the meantime.
my
Welcome back.
apologies, guys. I'm now on data. The Wi-Fi was a bit. Are you able to hear me correctly?
Yes, I'm hearing you. Can you just
Continue
continue
where
where
I
you
left
left
off.
off? Yes.
Okay. So I believe I am the best person to be the next external affairs chairperson. I would like to share a quote with you from the great Denzel Washington. At the end of the day, it's not about what you've done or even what you've accomplished. It's about what you've done with those accomplishments. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that being a leader is about your actions and impact. UWI Actuarial Society, I'm asking you to allow me, Robina Shetu, to leave an indelible impact with you. And I will share a few initiatives in which I will implement once I become your next external affairs chairperson. One, I think that the high schoolers are our future. A lot of high schoolers are good at math, they're interested in math, however, they do not know what to do with it. I think that we should make an impact within the high school. So whenever we think of external affairs, we think about the professionals we aspire to be and not the high schoolers in which will take our place. So one of my initiatives will be to merge that gap, to start forums, start expos, going to the high schools and introduce them to the world of actuarial science. And I will do this by interacting with the math clubs and art and the math departments to get forums started, and I will get funding from sponsorship. I will also organize to start up fundraiser events because I believe it is important to get the high schoolers to know the world of actuarial science and introduce them to what we do as actuaries. Secondly, I would like to implement both a physical and virtual suggestion box, and I will do this via Google Forms and to also create the physical box. As external affairs chairperson, I am not the only right one. I lead with humility. Therefore, it's important that I hear from you, the club, hear your suggestions and see how best I can implement these within the society. Also, I would like to continue a very successful initiative in which I would have seen being done in the club, which is to invite professionals to educate us about the world of actuaries. A lot of us were doing the degree actuarial science, however, we're not interested in becoming a traditional actuary. However, this is a chance for us to hear from past alumni and also professionals within the fields. And also, so these are three initiatives in which I plan to implement, and I hope that you will help me to see it through. I live by a motto which is strengthened by my past high school. Christ said, "Upera umnia binkan." Prayer and work conquers all. Ladies and gentlemen, work without faith is nothing done. Vote for Rabina Shetwood as your next external affairs chairperson, because I promise you, I will not just be a title holder. I will inflict real change and see you guys through. Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Chateau, for such a rousing speech. At this time, I'm going to invite someone who would have served in this position for the academic year, or outgoing External Affairs Chairperson Amanda Burnett, to ask the candidates some questions relating to the role or relating to what they have just said. Good
Wait, can you hear
evening.
me?
Yes, good
Can you hear
evening,
me?
Amanda.
Hi guys. So my first question to both candidates. Um, what gaps do you currently see between the club and the wider community, and how would you work to close them?
Can I go first?
Sure.
Okay, so as I would have stated in my first initiatives, I think whenever we look at external affairs, we only look at the professionals who can assist us. One of the gaps in which I see is that not a lot of persons understand actuarial science, and we as a club, we're not doing a good enough job to send the message about what actuarial science really is. So I want us to have more of an impact within society, and we can do this by educating the high schoolers who are good at math but also don't know what options are there within mathematics. So I think that it's very integral that we educate persons who are going to come to the University of the West Indies or wherever they venture off to about actuarial science. And I plan to merge this gap with my initiative, which I would have stated earlier, to create forums with these high schools, go in there and create events and other initiatives in which I plan to implement along the way. However, but the goal is to merge that gap between the persons who are not sure of what actuarial science is and what we do as actuaries, and us, the persons in the field who are currently learning about it. It would be best for us to introduce it to them.
Okay. To answer the question, I think the club has been doing a generally good job in terms of getting its name out there. The areas in which I see room for improvement include, as Rabina would have alluded to, the high schools. As I mentioned, one of my initiatives that I'd like to implement is the high school mentorship program. So we see where there is increasing knowledge about the actuarial profession. However, the the materials accessible to those in the schools is not they're not the best. So I believe that given our current experience with these courses, or past experience with these courses, I think that when we go into the schools and we partner up with them, we can give students a better chance at getting the opportunity to become a part of our program. Because one thing to have awareness, but the next thing to have the tools to actually do the to actually pursue that career. So I believe that's one way. The next way is within the UE community itself. We've been having some interclubbing meetings, but I do think we can broaden that. We can collaborate more with the faculty itself on some of the projects that it carries out, as well as we can collaborate with societies from the other faculties so that it broadens our impact in the general UA space. So whether that be club meetings or partnering upon initiatives such as street feeding so that we can have a wider impact, because I know it is a problem or it's something we struggle with in gathering the necessary items for the street feeding. If we should partner with other societies across the campus, then it would help us to strengthen our reach and our impact in these areas.
So, next question. In your view, what steps are necessary to keep the club active and relevant within the university space?
I can start this time. So again, I think our club has been doing a great job in terms of staying active in the university space. We saw we're at homecoming, we were the only club to participate in the chant off, which is really commendable. And I think just continuing to show up and be out there even when no one else is there, I think that will help us to stay above. Having fun projects, so it's not always a big sale, maybe something like a pop-up photo booth or something, just creative ways to get more people to come to our club and to keep that familial bond. Because I think that's something that draws, especially the first years to us, when they come to our meetings and they have us with not only in our serious meetings, but in our more laid back meetings where we're having our games and we have that little spirit of competition. And, I think that helps build them and help them to realize that, hey, it's not just about book, 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 book. I can come to club and have an area to just relax and get my mind off of the schoolwork and relate to people who have similar struggles as I do. So I think in those regards, we can help to continue the foundation that we've been building on. Yeah.
Okay, greetings once again. So we can have more of an outreach by having more of an online presence. I'll start off by saying that. Seeing that we're now in a digital era, I think it would be really good that we send out more content. Also letting persons know that hey, we're somewhat of a math club. However, math can be fun and math is not the only thing that we do. As you would have seen in the meeting that we would have planned as the shadow exec, we would have introduced a social talk whereby we hear from persons within the college space, hear their experiences, and offer great advice. So this is something that we would like to showcase on the media where persons are 24/7. Also, we can come up with innovative ideas, creative ways to make math fun so that persons are doing the math but they're also not realizing. An initiative in which I had to implement within the club is a math bingo. How to explain this game is that we will create a series of equations in which we'll read out in the club, and then persons will play an actual bingo. But the only way to get the number to put on the card is to solve the equation in your brain. So we'll make this competitive and fun. So persons are actively doing the math, but they're not realizing. So we just have to find a way to introduce the math to persons without letting it seem complicated and serious as an exam. And also let them know how marketable the degree is, how marketable you are as an actuary, how marketable you are to hold a degree in actuarial science. Let them know the importance of actuaries within the society. Let them know about all of the things that we're doing. We're not just over here doing actuarial science. We're very versatile. We're doing computer science, accounting, economics, and you the ladies and gentlemen, the point is actuarial science is a wonderful degree and employers view you in a very high light once you have this. So this is a chance for us to introduce this to persons, give them more of a presence, to let them know that we're fun and we're not just here in the mat 24/7. At homecoming we were the only club, however that did not dispute the fact that we were dominant. We were fun, we were acting together very collaboratively. We had team spirit. This is what our club is about, and we share a lot of opportunities within the group. I have seen that with our past president, and I want to continue this as we go forward as a club. So this is the message I will send out as the next external affairs chairperson, and I will go about doing this by giving more of a media presence.
Okay, thank you. My last question is for Michaela. So, how do you plan to balance your roles outside the club while being the AAC as well as an executive member?
Sorry, repeat that.
So, how do you plan to balance your roles outside the club while being the EAC as well as an exec member.
Okay, so as Adam stated, I am not new to this. I'm true to this. I try to set strict schedules for myself to work with so that I can balance my time. This year, I've held many leadership positions as well as been participating actively on and off campus, and it's I just I just do it. I stick to schedules. I ensure I get tasks done. When I set goals, I ensure they're met. I set deadlines for myself so that I can achieve my task. But also in third year, I will not have as many external commitments. So while I will be still actively engaged in other things, the role of external affairs chairperson will be my main focus as it relates to executive positions or positions that depend on me for its execution. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's all from
Um,
this one.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to both candidates for their speeches, and thank you so much, Amanda, for joining us and asking those questions. Guys, if you see me smiling or such, it's really just because I'm actually so proud of your speeches and your responses. It was actually so heartwarming that I recognized I was literally just smiling or laughing to the camera, but it was really from coming from a state of being so proud of you guys. Again, thank you guys so much for that. I am again now going to politely remove you from the stage to make way for our next presenters, which will be the nominees for the position of treasurer. So, guys, today as our nominees for the position of treasurer include Jamila Koye, Brianna Barrett, and Michaela Taylor. Good afternoon, good afternoon, all, or good afternoon, ladies.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I hope all of you guys are having a lovely night and are so excited to give your speeches. I know I am for sure excited to hear from each and every one of you guys, especially seeing that this is our most hotly contested role in our elections this year. I hope it's testament to how well the previous treasurer and assistant did their jobs that you too want to follow in such footsteps. However, without further ado, we'll invite you guys to share your speeches. The speeches will be given in the order of Brianna Barrett, then Jamila Koye will go, and then closing the show will be Michaela Taylor. So, Brianna, whenever you are ready, you may begin.
Okay, can you hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Brianna Barrett, and I am a proud member of the UWI Actuarial Society, and I'm pleased to be here today vying for the position of treasurer. So, why am I a strong candidate for this role? First, I am responsible as I follow through with all my commitments. I genuinely enjoy mathematics, which is useful for someone managing numbers on behalf of all of you, and I am dedicated. I do not treat executive positions as just titles, but rather as responsibilities. I also have practical experience. In high school, specifically in sixth form, I served as treasurer for my house, which required me to go to various classrooms to collect dues, speak directly with parents and teachers, answer any questions about what was being done with the funds, and manage a budget for purchasing items for events. This experience taught me that being treasurer is not just about keeping track of numbers, but it is also about communication, transparency, and accountability. Next, what will I bring to the society as treasurer? First, clarity. I will ensure every member understands how the society's funds are being used and there will be no confusion or no hidden figures. Second, efficiency. I will handle dues collection and budgeting in a timely and organized manner. Third and importantly, fundraising initiatives to strengthen our finances beyond just dues. We already know that regular food and drink sales are reliable sources of income. I will not only continue those, but also ensure that they are properly budgeted and tracked so we maximize our profit per sale. In addition, I propose introducing skill-based workshops with a registration fee. For example, we could host sessions on topics like Introduction to Python or resume review for internships or sessions on other soft skills that would be helpful in the field. We would charge a fee per attendee, which would go directly towards society funds. These workshops provide real value to members while generating revenue, and they also strengthen professional development as future actuaries or other related professions. Finally, I will act by my motto. There's always room for improvement. I will apply that to every financial decision. Every budget can be smarter and every initiative can be refined. I am confident that I will excel in this role if given the opportunity, and I would be honored to serve as your next UE Actuarial Society Treasurer. So count on me and vote Bree. Thank you.
Okay, just give me a second. Miss Koye, you're up next.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and thank you, Ajani, for that introduction. So, my name is Jamila Koye, and I am honored to present myself as a candidate for the position of treasurer. So, I believe that strong financial management is the foundation of any successful organization. And as treasurer, my goal is to not only manage our funds responsibly, but also to help build a club where every member feels valued, informed, and empowered to contribute. So if elected, I am committed to firstly revitalizing member engagement with dues and fees. So I plan to strengthen the systems that make financial participation more engaging and worthwhile. So this includes timely and consistent reminders regarding membership fees, along with incentives for members who consistently pay their dues. Secondly, strategic and cost-effective fundraising. So I aim to further develop a creative and practical fundraising strategy that spans the entire academic year. Building on the foundation that has already been established, I will continue to organize affordable and enjoyable fundraisers such as cultural food sales, bake sales, and slushy sales, to name a few. I also hope to expand collaborations with other clubs and societies, an approach that not only helps reduce costs but also creates more opportunities for networking and engaging with other members of our campus community. Additionally, I plan to continue expanding our range of branded merchandise, including affordable items like armbands and stickers, as well as keepsake options such as tote bags and tumblers for members who would like something lasting to represent their experience here in this society and show their UAS spirit. Thirdly, smarter financial management. To keep things organized and efficient, I will continue to use digital tools to manage budgets, track spending, and to maintain accurate financial records. And finally, promoting transparency and accountability. I believe that the role of treasurer extends beyond just handling finances, it also demands trust, openness, and accountability. And so I will continue to provide clear, consistent financial updates so members are in the know of how our funds are being used. So having outlined the initiatives I intend to carry forward and extend upon, I hope I have demonstrated to you, the members of the UE Actuarial Society, my readiness to continue serving if re-elected treasurer and to build on the progress already made. So tomorrow, don't delay, vote Koye for treasurer and let's make every cent count. Thank you.
And lastly, but certainly not least, we'll hear from Michaela Taylor.
Okay, hi guys. So I am Michaela Taylor, a second year student for the year 2026-2027. How many times have you heard about a great idea in a club or society? An event, an initiative, anything that never happened simply because the funding wasn't there? It's more common than it should be, and that is exactly the problem that I want to solve. My mission is simple: Money talks, but Michaela works. You might be asking what qualifies me for this position. Not only was I the assistant treasurer for the shadow exec of the society, I was also a member of the treasury team where I worked under the current treasurer. At our annual bake sale, I assisted in recording the goods sold, assumed cashier duties, as well as I gave an account of the money collected at the end of the sale. We could even travel back to 2 years ago when I held the position of treasurer for my house in high school. Trivial, yes, compared to what is required of me now, but I know that I am the right person for this position. But here's what separates a good treasurer from a great one. A great treasurer doesn't just manage money, they grow it. And that is where fundraising comes in. Our traditional annual events have always inspired a strong turnout. The bake sale and sushi sale will not be forgotten, only improved. However, I want to introduce some fresh ideas, such as a raffle, armband sale, and a fruit kebab sale, which can be incorporated with our sushi sale. With donations from various companies as well as moderate to inexpensive gifts purchased by us, the raffle will be a success. The events are feasible because they are affordable for both the club and the potential consumers. And let's not forget about the dues. Think of them as fuel, and I will be the driver making sure we don't waste a drop. I prioritize organization, accountability, reliability, purpose, and progress. The club's funds will be recorded efficiently, and you will see your money reflected in unforgettable events, resources, and opportunities. In keeping it short, this club has so much potential, and I want to be the person who makes sure money never stands in the way of it. So if you want a treasurer who shows up, speaks up, raises funds, and never lets the numbers lie, I am asking for your vote. Remember, let's tally the funds with Taylor. Vote Michaela Taylor tomorrow for your treasurer. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much for that, Michaela Taylor. Though I don't understand the reason for the buy because at this time we'll be inviting our outgoing assistant treasurer, Kadisha Anglin, who is more experienced in the field than me, to ask this year's nominees some questions. Good evening, Kadisha.
Well, good evening, everybody. So my first question is, uh, you all mentioned transparency. How would you go about keeping members informed?
Could I go ahead?
Okay,
Oh,
Okay, so I'll take Jamila first and Taylor.
okay. So I think transparency involves keeping the members aware of what their funds are being used for. So one way that that could be done is when we host fundraisers, we could obviously tell them what the funds are being used for. For example, or Pink Sale last year, when it was held, it was after the hurricane because it impacted our original date. And of course, proceeds from that were donated to relief drives for Hurricane Melissa. So, of course, telling them what the funds will be used for. And we could also provide a summary of how the event went, if we earned a profit, and then, of course, what those funds would be used for. So, that is one way.
Okay, so for transparency, seeing that it's not possible that we're going to be showing the members of the club our books and the Excel sheets and so forth like that. So as Jamila said, we can give an account of how the money is spent, but also as I mentioned in my speech, the money will be reflected in the initiatives that we put on. So the money that we collect, it's gonna be shown when we keep the different initiatives, when we keep other events, it will be reflected in those stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Camilla and Mikhail. Yeah, just letting and communicating with people about how things are going to be used at the beginning of each meeting, you could just have a disclaimer about if we're having an initiative, what this initiative is for, what the money would go towards, and yeah.
Okay, good. So my question is, I heard all these initiatives, but with how do you plan to go about doing all these initiatives in the year? Because what you don't really take into account is that sometimes things happen or the semester moves so fast and some things that you have planned you don't go through with it. So how do you plan to have like to ensure that all these initiatives that you have planned will be executed? I'll take the same.
Okay, so I believe that the best way to ensure, or as best as possible to adhere to the timeline that you would have hoped for, is to plan from early. I think the university keeps itself consistent with the, I would say, the order of events that happen throughout the year, especially in the second semester. We will know when, for example, sports day is held, when homecoming is held, so we can plan our activities better around that. Of course, there are some circumstances that are unforeseen and can affect things, and it will just take the work of the treasurer and her team and also the rest of the executive just to plan accordingly, because of course there's some things that you can't prepare for. So maybe you would have planned for something to be on a certain date and it can't be held anymore, so it's just to try to move around things as best as possible and to be adaptable, not to be frigid. So we have to know how to be quick moving and make quick decisions. So yeah.
I think Jamila answered the question quite well. Because I agree with her with what she said. It's all about spacing out the events and putting them on a timeline that makes sense. So as she said before, we know that when the different events will be held for you, and we know that it's more than likely it's a constant thing. So we can plan around those specific events as she said, the unforeseen circumstances. Those are things that we cannot plan for. If you want to, let's say, plan for an unforeseen event, you could possibly have a backup date. So you could say, okay, if it doesn't happen on the 18th, it can happen on the 25th or something like that. But yeah, Jamila summed up everything.
Yeah, in addition to what they said, in terms of not being able to plan for unforeseen circumstances, we could also prioritize certain initiatives. So if our goal is to maximize our profits, we could, so in times that we know, like most of the time, nothing happens during this time of the year or something like that, we could put or bake sales at this time. If our plan is to maximize our profits, we could put the initiatives that bring in the most profit at this time and leave other initiatives for another time. Yeah.
Okay, guys, thank you. That's it for me.
Okay, thank you, Khadija, so much for those questions. And a hearty thank you to the nominees, not only for your speeches, but also for putting yourself up for the role and for your service, because all of you guys would have been a part of the Treasury Committee last year. Miss Koye, you were the returning treasurer, and Miss Taylor and Brianna Barrett. You guys were very, very active members of the subcommittee. So I'll take the time now to publicly thank you guys so much for your service over the year and wish you all the best in the elections. And
Thank
with
you.
yes, and with that,
Thank you. Bye bye.
I'll politely remove you from the stage to make way for our other contestants. Okay. So I'll be inviting to the stage now Miss Danica Grant and Miss Shaneka Small, who are our nominees for the role of General Secretary. Um, for these speeches, I will allow Miss Danica Grant to go first, and then she'll be followed by Shaneka Small. You guys may begin whenever you are ready.
Ladies and gentlemen of the audience and my fellow nominee candidates, good evening. I stand before you all today, figuratively of course, as I present myself for the position of General Secretary of the UWI Actuarial Society for the academic year 2026 to 2027. I joined the society in my second semester of university without expecting it to become something so meaningful to me. Yet through participating in activities such as AXA Week, during which I was Vice House Captain for the Best House, Purple Dragons, connecting with society members, and even getting the chance to contribute to planning a club meeting as Shadow General Secretary a couple weeks ago, I found myself genuinely and truly enjoying every part of the club experience. I have felt welcomed in every sense of the word, and it is with and because of this appreciation that I offer myself for the position of General Secretary. Now, this role of General Secretary is one that requires organization, responsibility, and trust. It is about making sure that the society runs smoothly behind the scenes while also supporting the goals of the entire executive team. If given the opportunity, I will ensure that membership processes, are handled efficiently so that every new and continuing member feels welcomed and a part of the Axai family like I was. I will take responsibility for maintaining accurate and organized records of meetings and activities because clear documentation and communication is essential to the continuity and growth of the society. In addition, I will support educational matters by working alongside the exec team to ensure that members are well informed and have access to helpful resources. I will also be ready to assist in drafting any letters, proposals, and any official communication needed to represent the society in a clear and respectful manner. Beyond my technical responsibilities, I want to be someone the executive body and the society on a whole can rely on. If possible, I would also like to revive the society's newsletter and implement member birthday shoutouts with monthly mini celebrations to further connect our members. I am prepared to serve, I am committed to giving my best effort, and to helping this society continue to grow and thrive. So if you want the society to be granted a better future, vote for me, Danica Grant. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that speech, Miss Grant. And now I welcome Miss Shaneka Small, who will be giving her speech.
Okay, are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shaneko Small, and I am running for the position of General Secretary for the academic year 2026 to 2027. I believe that this past year I've gained valuable experience into the insights of the running of the club and, more importantly, how it may be improved. Firstly, I believe communication is the cornerstone of any organization, and as such, I will focus my efforts on clear and open communication, not only within the executive body, but also the wider actuarial society. Within the executive, I propose implementing periodic updates, whether this be bi-weekly or otherwise, that will ensure that our members are kept aligned with ongoing initiatives, responsibilities, and also the progress of how things are going. I believe that this will better improve our coordination and accountability as well as overall efficiency. For the wider society, I will ensure that timely and consistent updates through our channels of communication are implemented, such as our WhatsApp groups, email chains, and also our social media accounts. Doing so will ensure that the members are always informed about our initiatives, events, and any important announcements.
My goal is to create a more connected club and an engaged society where no one feels left out. Secondly, the manner in which we organize ourselves will always affect how efficiently we carry out our events, whether this be outreach, initiatives, or fundraisers. My organization strategy will focus on structure and accountability. I will ensure accurate record keeping as well as strong coordination among the different subcommittees, and also ensure a more structured planning and execution of events. Having served as assistant secretary, I believe I've had the opportunity to observe what it takes to keep the club running smoothly and also identify areas of improvement. I believe I've learned the importance of strong organization alongside coordination in order to ensure a successful outcome. And I believe that these key elements are things that I'll continue to encourage, while at the same time I've identified areas where structure and collaboration could have been improved to improve our outcomes. In closing, I will also emphasize that our club is only as strong as its members. As such, I believe a key element in my role, if elected, will be to support the club members and encourage their participation. This may be achieved through more peer engagement activities and targeted events that align with our members' interests. So for a secretary you can depend on to show up and get the job done, I am the right pick. Remember, think big and vote small. Thank you.
Well done to both candidates on their speeches just now. At this time, I'll be inviting Leah Cassie, our outgoing secretary, to share, not to share, to ask our candidates some questions. Good evening, Miss Cassie. Welcome
Hi,
to
good
our
evening,
team.
everybody. Can you see me clearly? See me
Yes, we can
properly?
see
Everything?
you.
Okay, great. Danica, I hope I pronounced your name right. My audio chipped out,
Yes.
sorry, at the beginning of your speech. That's right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. I loved your speech. I loved your speech as well, Shanika. Guys, I'm in the chat typing you guys up. Loved it. Okay, so I do have a couple questions for you. Okay, so um what was my first question? Okay. So if you guys get the role as secretary, this is directed to the both of you, by the way. If you guys get the role at the end of your tenure, what is one thing you hope to improve for the society?
Can I go first?
Yeah, you may.
Okay. So, um, a big part of my campaigning and my speech, and one of my major goals for the society, and what I would want anybody who would have been under my tenure for the next academic year to say at the end of it, is that wow, I really felt like the Aksai Club became much more of a family, much more closer. I really felt more connected with my club members. So yeah.
Okay, thank you. Shanika.
Okay, I think one thing, one like the main thing I'd want to be remembered for doing in my leadership is being able to encourage coordination and just shared collaboration so that everyone is working as a team. I feel like this is similar to what Danica said, but I feel like that's one of the most important things when you're going to be working to plan events and putting events on, fundraisers, outreach, being able to collaborate and acting together and moving in togetherness. So I believe that's also one thing.
Okay, great. I loved both of your responses. My next question, this will be directed, sorry, to Danica. On the initial flyer, I saw that you wanted to what is the word, vie for the position for PCC and EAC as well as secretary. But it looks like ultimately you chose to fully commit to secretary. Can you tell me like why that is?
I knew this question was coming, but I decided to stick with or campaign for the role of general secretary because, to one, I realized that due to the nature of the position, if it is that I didn't become general secretary, I could be assistant secretary, and I would still, in some way, shape, or form, have a chance to contribute to, the manning of the society in a way that I feel like would be best and helpful. And then two, I honestly realized that the candidates for EAC and PCC were better suited to that role than I am due to my nature, my skills, my characteristics.
Okay, that's great. Danica, again, I I noticed that in your speech, you had said that you wanted to revive the newspaper idea. I know the outgoing secretary from last year, Brianna, she had wanted to do that. And I remember I told her that I would have tried to do that, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to. I just want to know, like, in terms of like time management, how do you think you would manage that? Because it has been on my mind to do it from last semester, but I don't know if it's because I'm in final year or what, but the time to actually sit down and like compile everything, more likely I would have to coordinate with the PRO kids, just get an accurate representation of everything that was going on. How do you think that you could manage your time to actually do the newspaper idea for this upcoming year? I think you're muted, Danica. Is it me?
Danica, your mic is muted currently.
Hello?
Okay,
Yeah,
yes, we
we're
can
hearing
hear
you
you now.
now.
Oh, okay, so I will start out and say honestly, I have never seen a previous newsletter or newspaper from the society. So basically, what I envision, I mean, I would liaise or speak to previous general secretaries or previous members to have an idea of what that looks like. But my vision for the newsletter would be a monthly type of email with general updates on the happenings of the club, a member spotlight, and then also any Axi tips or study tips or anything like that that would be helpful for members. So I'm not sure if that was in the previous newsletter, but that's what I would want to have in this newsletter. And so I think that based on the fact that it's such a condensed list of um, things that would go in the newsletter, I don't feel like it would take as much time as if it were to be more than that to be in the newsletter. And I feel like with the help of the assistant secretary as well as the PRO, like you said, Kaylee, um, it should not be a hard task to accomplish as long as it's strategically planned and I organize and delegate where necessary. I feel like I can get it done.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'm unmuted. Okay, great. Okay, my next question is directed to Shaneka. I noticed that in your speech you said that there were some areas of improvement. How do you think that you could improve those areas in your role as secretary? Like, what are the areas of improvement you see that could be worked on, could be rectified, that kind of thing?
Okay, so I mentioned that I'd seen instances where better collaboration could have like avoided certain stuff or just strengthened our operations. I think that one of the ways that I would avoid this is the implementation of the bi-weekly updates. So within each subcommittee, if you have, if even if it's not bi-weekly, but like a periodic update, so this subcommittee is working on a specific task. When they're done, you update everyone else. So everyone else knows what's going on, and you know how to, like, if you need to go from the treasurer to the secretary, then to everyone else, you know how to like pass the information along, and everyone is also informed. Another thing is that there would have been times where not everyone knew what was next. So I propose implementing like either a monthly calendar where we know for this month, these are the things that we're planning to do, and this is who is responsible. We're going to set specific deadlines and meet those deadlines as best as possible so that we can keep everything flowing and just overall better collaboration and then improved efficiency.
Okay, great. And my last question, it will be directed to the both of you. How do you think that we can reach out or attract more students to join the secretarial subcommittee? I don't know if you realize, but I think I don't know what it is, but some persons they just don't really want to join the secretary subcommittee itself. What do you think you guys can do in order to attract persons to join it?
I think I'll go first. I first think that we need to let them understand that it's not necessarily a boring role or even as tedious, especially if you have a team to work with. So, one of the most important things will be showing them how we delegate and what we actually do. So, you're behind the scenes, you're working on reaching out to people to make sure we have permission to do this and keeping everyone else updated with what's going on. So, just keep them, I don't know, like help them to understand that it's not just a boring task. Like it's something that's important and that our role is very much necessary, and it will keep the order of things like flowing and make the club easier and more efficient.
Okay, great. Danica.
Yes, I agree with what Shanika said, and just to add, to get more people interested. I feel like a lot of times when people aren't interested or don't show interest in a particular role or activity or experience, it's because they probably aren't aware of exactly what it is that that role entails. So I think a major part of it would also be to outline in detail what it is that the role of the general secretary or those on the secretarial subcommittee um, do, and or what the role entails rather. And then like Shaneko said, just helping them understand that it doesn't have to be anything tedious and that we would work as a team to get our task completed. So yeah.
Okay, great. The responses from both of you to all of my questions were amazing. 10 out of 10. As a matter of fact, 100 out of 10. I wish you guys all the best in the elections. I hope the viewers were pleased by your responses to the questions, by your speeches and everything. Again, I wish you all the best, and I know we're going to be proud of whoever the secretary is and the assistant secretary. So thank you for having me, and good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Okay, and we have one question coming from our chat. As it relates to the newsletter, how will you work together with the PCC since this is more so a publications um, affair rather than a PRO duty?
I guess that question is directed to me, but to answer, I mean, whoever it is that that role is more aligned to, that would be the person that I would work with. So if it's not the PRO, then it would be the PCC, but whoever it is, then I would just present my ideas forward, hear their ideas, and then we work together to establish or reestablish, rejuvenate, revive the newsletter.
Okay, thank you very much for that response. I don't see any more questions in the chat for you guys. So officially, let me thank Leah Cassie for her tenure spent as our General Secretary and for coming online tonight to ask our candidates, Danica Gant and Shanika Small. Thank you so much for putting yourselves up for nomination. Thank you so much for your speeches, and it is very clear how much you impact you guys both want to have on this club. So thank you. And at this time, like I've been doing all night, I will politely remove you from the stage to make way for our next nominee. Bye, guys. So, wait, chat, we're coming towards the end of the stream, and more so the climax of the stream, as well as we'll be hearing from those who will be holding the top executive positions for the next coming year. Those who will be seeing above all else that every initiative planned is executed and executed well, and those who will bear, I would say, the most weight for caring for this club and uplifting it. At this time, I'll be inviting Samantha Salmon to the stage. I know she isn't related to our vice president, even though our outgoing vice president's last name is Salmon. Maybe it is a name thing, but I'll be inviting Samantha Salmon at the time to share her speech. Good evening, Samantha.
Hello?
Hello. It's
Wait,
good to see.
Johnny, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Are you sure it's not a device thing?
Um, I can't hear you, but I assume you're saying I should start, right?
Yes, you may begin.
Okay, so I'm gonna start. So you can hear me?
Yeah. Yes, I
Okay.
can.
All right. Hi, guys. My name is Samantha Salmon, and I am running for Vice President of the UWIAS Actual Society for the academic year 2026 to 2027. And I'm not sure if any of you looked at my poster, but on it, it said my mission statement was together we learn, together we build connections, and together we create opportunities for one another. So we all know that actual science, actually, I know not all of you do actual science. Some of you are from other faculties. So I'm going to say university. We know that it's not an easy path with the amount of courses we have, assignments we have during a week. It gets a lot and it gets overwhelming and tedious. So what I want or what I plan to do is to create a space where we can unload our different struggles to create a space that's welcoming, inclusive, and relevant to everyone, not just people who do actual science. And some of my ideas is one, course connect forums. As a first year student, I've had the privilege of interacting with other second year students and third year students on a personal level. And I found it very helpful because they told me a lot about what to expect from different courses, what to expect from different teachers. And and it's stuff that you wouldn't necessarily hear in a formal setting. So it was very helpful. And I think that we should create a session, a formal slash informal session in which we can share it with other people. So I've had the privilege of learning this from second and third year students. So it would be nice to share it with the incoming first year students, second year students coming up, and even if we could get the leaving third year students to come back and speak to the third year students who will be starting in September. Secondly, another idea I have is real talk sessions. When I was acting, is it not acting vice president? When I was, is it interim vice president? I don't remember what
Shadow
that was
Vice
called.
President.
But when I did that the other day with Lori, Michaela, Brianna, all of them, and I was vice president, we had a real talk session because sometimes it can get very stressful and overwhelming when you're constantly hearing about, oh, you need to do this for your future, you need to start doing this, you need to make a LinkedIn account, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do that. And sometimes it's best if you just, take a step back, connect with your peers, and we talk about more about our social lives. We're all young adults now. Some serious topics need to be addressed, and we need to know some serious things outside of our careers. So that's why I think the real talk session was very insightful and very helpful. Oh, guys, sorry, I'm using my hands a lot. That's how I express myself. My third idea is a math outreach initiative, in which we could either go to high schools or primary schools, and we could share our knowledge. Because if you're an exercise student, or even if you're like a econ, because I know some people are doing econ, banking and finance, political science. We're bright. So I feel like we should share our knowledge with high schoolers, primary schools. And we don't have to do this often. We can do this once a semester, so twice for the year, where we go and we help math students in primary school, econ students in high school. And I also know that the math department offers CSEC and CAPE marathons. So I don't know if any of you guys volunteered like separate and apart from like the club. But what I propose is that we could probably go as a club and help out at these marathons, these CSEC and Cape marathons. And yeah, that's basically some of my ideas. And before I finish up, I feel like I should share my strengths and weaknesses, to be a bit relatable. So I'm gonna start on a positive note. I think my strengths is that one of my strengths is that I'm a good leader. Um, whether I'm in a good group or a bad group, even though I know I'm gonna get a good group, a good committee, I get things done. Like I make sure it gets done. Like whether or not you work with me or you now work with me, it's gonna get done when I'm involved. And also I think a strength is that I talk a lot. I like to think that that's one of my strengths. Mukoda talk for Jamaica. So that's a strength of mine. And a weakness I would say is that I don't really like the spotlights. I I struggle with like, stuff like that, like having my face and name on stuff. So I think I'm gonna try, like in this position, I'm gonna try and step out of my comfort zone a little bit and come out into the spotlight. So that's it. I don't know if I should say vote Sam for vice president, seeing that I'm the only elect, but yeah, vote Sam for vice president. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Samantha, for that speech. Can you hear me now? Or you
Ajani, I
still can't hear
cannot
me?
hear you. I don't know what I should do.
Try leave.
What? Okay, you gotta type the question. I don't know. After your speech, check your device. I don't know what to do. Settings.
Okay, in the meantime, Samantha can't hear me, but I'll be bringing Tonoya on stage, and
Can you?
hopefully,
Okay, I'm gonna leave and come back. Okay.
okay, just give her a second chat. She's going to rejoin the meeting.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear. Okay.
Okay, at this time, I'm going to ask Tanoya Saman to ask you some questions as the outgoing vice president. Good evening, Miss Saman, again.
Okay, good evening, Ajani. Good evening, Sam. So, Sam, my question to you is how do you plan to balance all these initiatives you plan to implement with your academic life?
Okay, so I am someone who works on a very, I wouldn't say strict, but because I'm human, so I like to procrastinate a lot. But if I know I have a certain things to do, especially I work on a weekly basis. So I would plan out my week on like the Sunday or the Saturday, and I would, get it done accordingly. And you can even ask Ajani if in preparation for this whole elect and nominations thing, I was supposed to send in my poster and my all of those stuff by the Thursday. And I realized all the things I had to do from the Saturday evening. And I think I sent it in either the Sunday morning or the Sunday evening. So, I plan out my time accordingly. So I think that's how I would approach like, my different ideas.
Okay, thank you, Sam. Wonderful response. And congratulations on your position as Vice President.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, thank you, Tanoya, for your question, and Samantha for nominating yourself for the position of Vice President. I am again going to politely remove you guys from the stage and make way for our last candidate for the evening. At this time, I'll be inviting Miss Lori Choi to the stage, who is our sole candidate for the position of presidency. Good evening, Miss Choi.
Good evening, Ajani and everyone else.
Yes, I hope all is well.
Yep.
Okay, whenever you are ready, you may begin your speech.
All right. Great. So, good evening, everyone. This is the last speech, so thankfully you're almost free. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Lori Choi, and I'll let you in on a secret. I didn't choose actuarial science with much thought. I actually applied and accepted to study biochemistry. And then before the first week of university, I was talking to one of my closest friends and telling her I've heard more about this biochem thing and it's not looking too good for me. She then suggested that I do actuarial science. She was like, Lori, do AXI with me. And because I would jump off a cliff if my friend jumped too, I changed my degree to actuarial science. I, however, did not choose to join the UWI Actuarial Society on a whim. I really chose it because it's related to my degree and it seemed fun. Eventually, I grew to love the club, and here we are, running for the president of the Actuarial Society for the year 2026 to 2027. Let's be real for a second. Studying actuarial science is not easy. There are some degrees out there and some unnamed faculties that make me say, whoa, life could be very different. We've all been there, walking into an exam feeling somewhat confident, only to later realize that you actually did not understand anything and you need to get 120% on the final to make your GPA stay afloat. Or open a past paper and thinking, all right, that's not bad. And then section B makes you question if you read the course outline in its entirety. And yet, we're still here, still pushing, still learning, and still trying. That's exactly why this society matters. Because even though actuarial science is tough, it doesn't have to be isolating. I am running not just to hold a title, but to make the society something that genuinely helps you succeed, feel supported, and maybe even enjoy this treacherous journey just a little more. If elected, I'll focus on three main areas. First, academic support. Right now, a lot of us pick up the book 2 days before the exam and realize we should have picked it up earlier, then call our friends to tell them that and hope they'll say the exact same thing so we don't feel as bad. To curb this, I want to introduce more structured study groups, peer mentoring, and exam prep sessions, so instead of getting our way through topics, we actually understand them. Second, career development. At some point, either now or hopefully in the near future, we will all have realized that this degree leads to actual jobs. Real jobs with interviews and questions like, tell me about yourself, which you fabricate a perfect version of yourself just because you want to look at spending money. I would like to strengthen our connection with the industry by bringing in professionals, not just actuaries, who can tell us what their jobs are really like, and not just a textbook version of, oh, I passed 10 exams in 6 years and now I make okay money. It's a good field, something more that really makes us decide if you'd like to go down this path. I would like more internship opportunities, more networking events, and practical workshops such as resume building, interview preparation, and technical skills that employers actually care about. Because passing exams is important, but being prepared for the real world is just as important. Third, community. Honestly, some of us only know our friend group and maybe a handful of other people. I would like to see that change. Actuarial science is one of the smaller degrees, so I don't see any reason why we don't know each other, even if we're not in the same courses. I believe we need to have more social events, more interactive activities and meetings, and more opportunities for us to connect outside of lectures and exams. Because the people sitting next to you today could be your future colleagues, your professional network, or just your lifelong friends. And it's a lot easier to get through this degree when you actually know and support the people around you. Now, to be realistic, I can't make exams easier, I can't guarantee passes, and unfortunately, I cannot negotiate with examiners, although my friends will tell you that I will go toe to toe with my lecturers. However, I can promise this: I will be committed, I will be approachable, and I will actually listen to you. If something isn't working, I want to hear about it. If you have ideas, I want to help make them happen. Because this society isn't just for a small group of people, it's for all of us. Leadership to me isn't about being the smartest person in the room. In fact, in actuarial science, that's a very risky assumption to make. Leadership is about making sure everyone in the room has the support and opportunities they need to succeed. So if you want a society that supports you academically, prepares you professionally, and brings people together, not just during exams, but throughout the entire journey, then I'm asking for your vote. Let's make the society not just something we're part of, but something that actually works for us. Thank you and good luck to all of us, because statistically speaking, we're going to need it.
Okay, thank you so much for that speech, Miss Joy.
You're welcome.
I can say I'm people with pride. I am so, so proud of you and all the people who would have presented today. Okay, so I have just a few questions for you. Well, maybe more than a few, but should be no more than 3 or 4. We'll see.
Okay.
Okay. First thing, what past experiences makes you the best, or well, in this case, a great candidate?
A suitable candidate.
Yes.
Okay, so it's not my first time being the president of a club. In high school, I did hold a presidency for 3 clubs, spanned between my 2 final years of high school. So I know how to run a club, I know how to run an exec body, as well as manage my schoolwork and just social life with it. You know, as Michaela would say, I'm not new to this, I'm true to this. So.
Okay, that's great. That's great. That's great. Good answer. My next question: how will you handle conflict that may arise between exec members, yourself included or not included, or even friction? Say, for example, there isn't exactly a conflict, but there are exec members who are avoiding each other, and it's making communication harder. Such, how will you handle that?
Okay, so the people who know me know I'm a pretty confrontational person because I just don't see the need to beat around the bush. And I've been told I can be direct or blunt. And for me, I believe most friction or conflict really comes from miscommunication. You and I may be saying the exact same thing, but you're saying it in a way I probably don't understand. And because of that, I think you're saying the exact opposite of me. And not all personalities are the same. Some people are a bit more fiery, some people are a bit more calm. And as president, it's really my role not to just lead the club, but to help mediate these personalities. Because you may have the best exec members, and all the persons vying for positions tonight, I think, are excellent candidates. However, if they can't work together, we don't have a functioning executive body. So really, my method is really just talking to you straight. So I'd contact you, hey, we need to speak, X time, X place, you have to be there. This is not I'm coming to you as a friend. No, this is me coming to you as your president, and I need to speak to you resolving this issue. Line out, okay, so this is what you said, is this what you meant? Because sometimes people are saying things and they don't really realize what they're saying. They think they're saying X, but in reality they're saying Y. So first you have to clarify what the person is saying. The parties that they may have problems with, you can relay this information, or maybe they're present in the room, but really just straighten out the miscommunication. And I find that that will really resolve any conflict you have.
Okay, that's great. That's great answer. In a follow-up question to that is, how do you ensure that, because you say you're very blunt, right? And that is a good personality trait in some aspects, but for some people, they don't respond as well to bluntness. How do you, looking into yourself, how will you manage that to ensure that your bluntness doesn't come off as being too abrasive or as being power hungry or as such to your executive?
So for one, just having general social skills, not everyone is appreciative of all personalities. And while I'm blunt, I'm not rude, because some people conflate the two. Some people like, oh, I'm just honest, when in reality you're rude. And some people, right, I'm not a rude person, I'm just going to tell you like it is, so there's no confusion, because I don't like the miscommunication. Again, I think that's a source of most, if not all, conflict. But generally, I start out, very gentle with everyone. And, as Jamaicans, we're used to more direct personalities in comparison to like other cultures. So I wouldn't start out on the extreme end, of course, on the gentle end. And I don't want to say push the boundaries, but push the boundaries. And you see how people react. Obviously, if so, you say something and somebody's not vibing with it, you can quickly react and be like, oh, sorry, XYZ. And from that point on, you know how to move with the person. It's not saying that they're wrong, not saying that they're right, not saying that there's a real problem, but not everyone vibes a certain way, vibes the same way, sorry. And again, I really just think it's general social skills, because, you're making friends, speaking with lecturers, stuff like that. And then also speaking with people in your degree who are not particularly friends. You need to learn how to navigate all forms of relationship. So I'd start out gentle, but then when I need to get work done, I can tap into more direct side, I guess you could say.
Okay, that was actually an excellent answer. Maybe you should be teaching a conflict management course.
Sign me up.
Well, my penultimate question. This is a bit of a harder question, but
Oh.
coming into the role, I think this is something you'll need to consider. What is one? Well, don't want to say flaw, but where is one place you think the outgoing president, which is me, would have fell down, and how do you plan to improve that for the next year to make sure that okay, you have seen this issue that you may not have liked how the president did things. How will you improve that?
Okay. So for full context, I wasn't here for semester one. So all
Yes.
issues that would have happened in semester one, I'm not privy to. But semester two, just being back, I would say to you, Ajani, sometimes I think you forgot that you're president. I'll give a specific context relating back to, what do you call that? Spirit Week. Yes. Spirit Week is a week full of emotions. Of course, all houses are excited. They think their house is the best, such and such. There were some problems in regards to certain events, certain teams where you're just a bit excited. As president, at the end of the day, your say is the final say, right? Of course, that doesn't mean that, you should be a dictator and blah, blah, blah. Of course, you listen to other people's opinions, suggestions, but when you make a decision is made, and then we move on. And it's unfortunate if you may not agree with it, but I'm still president. So my word goes. Again, there's a hierarchy. Of course, don't abuse the hierarchy. Don't, not listen to your members. And you can use a member's suggestion over your own. Not saying that, everybody on the team agrees with X, but I agree with Y and I'm president, so we're gonna go with Y. No, you listen to everything, and if it genuinely makes sense, and your idea is not always the best. Someone may present a better idea than you, and you're like, okay, that actually makes more sense, and your brain was working a bit better than mine. And you take it and you roll. So I'd say, again, it kind of goes with me being a bit direct. I can put my foot down and move on.
Okay, and yes, that was actually an excellent answer. I think directness will be your superpower as president. I do think it was something I felt on, but this is debate's not about me. So yes, I think that was an excellent answer. And directness is something that you definitely need to have when dealing with your executive. Final question, so that we can end the night. Yes, as president of the UWI Actuarial Society, you will be called upon by the math department for a lot of things. Yes, you will be a representative of the department. However, how will you engage your club members to join you on this journey to be a representative of the department at their events as well?
Honestly, the most natural way I see it is to intertwine some events with the math department and promote the math department in a positive manner. Sometimes the math department can come off a bit like, oh, like strictly educational and the activities are not fun and everything is just work, da da da. But like a lot of these events, if you go with your friends or with a good group of people, like it can become fun. For example, the outreach, I don't remember which high school we went to, but it was in what, Hanover?
Yes, we went to
Yes.
Racine.
So that technically was work, But you go with your friends. It's a drive out with your friends. They give you lunch. On your lunch break, you can talk. You get to interact with the rest of the world. Because university is really a bubble. Not everyone can come to university. And those who do, it's like you're living in a little bubble. So it's nice to exit that bubble and really see things. So it's really just have to present these ideas to your club and especially present it to the older members, because I think once the older members go, I think the younger members will naturally be a bit more influenced to go. They come and they see, oh, this is what everyone does. I'd say a lot of people naturally fall in line and do what everyone else does. So present it to members and encourage, and once you convince them a few times and they actually realize, oh, this is actually fun, they'll start coming to more events, and then turnout will be great and the events will be successful, of course.
Okay, thank you, Lori. Excellent
You're
answers
welcome.
right across the board. I am so excited to see what you do in your tenure as president, and I'm excited to see what you and your council do and how you guys will uplift the club and continue making or keeping UWIAS Actual Society as the premier club on the
Of
campus.
course, the one and only.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you everyone. Good night.
Yes. Good night. I will politely remove you from
Don't worry,
stage.
I'll save you the trouble. I'll leave. I'll save you the trouble.
Ah, okay. Okay. So thank you guys so much on the YouTube live stream for coming out and supporting our candidates, for listening to their speech. When I click the end live stream button here, the live stream will be uploaded to YouTube, so you can rewatch it if you need to be catch what the candidates said in their speech and such. Make your notes on who you will be voting for. Voting will open tomorrow, that is Friday, April the 17th at 10 a.m. and will close at 10 p.m. on Saturday, April the 18th. So voting will be open for 36 hours for you to select your candidate of choice. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Have a good night.